Today we're covering Chapter 2, Section 2.1, and we're going to talk about ways to display data. And the first way is we could make a table. We could also take information and make a graph, and we can take information and make an equation. But today we're going to concentrate on this one. We're going to concentrate on making a graph. And any kind of graph that you make, there are different methods, but the basic method is to make a table. And so I'm going to put my table over here and make my X column and my Y column. Okay, so now we're going to do the equation y equals negative 2x plus 5. Alright, so we need to put in values for x, and then we can graph it. And since we can look at it and tell it's linear, we know we only need 2 points to make a line. So I put 0 in for x. I get negative 2 times 0 is 0, plus 5 is 5. I can also put in 1 for x. And I take negative 2 times 1 is negative 2 plus 5 is 3. And if you're kind of unsure of yourself and you're thinking you might have made an error, you could try a third point just to make sure it falls in the same line. I could try a negative number like negative 1. If I put negative 2 times negative 1, I get positive 2 plus 5 is 7. Okay, so if I mark these, and again this is only a sketch and this is a very rough draft, we can make a line that goes through all 3 of these points. And again, this is only a sketch because I am just freehanding it. But you can see all the points on this line will be solutions to this equation. Alright, so let's erase this and let's do another graph. Okay, let's graph y equals negative x squared plus 1. Okay, so again I make my xy axis. And I make my little t-chart over here. And I put in values. Now if we look at this, we can tell it's not linear. It's got an x squared in it, which means it's a quadratic. So most quadratics are graphed as parabolas. So we know it's not going to be a straight line, so we're going to need more points so we can get a better sketch of this. So if we let x be 0, we have negative 0 squared, which is 0, plus 1 is 1. If we try 1, we get negative 1 squared. Now that negative is out front. This is 1 squared, which is 1. So this is negative 1 plus 1, which is 0. I could try negative 1. Again, negative 1 squared is 1, and the negative is out front. Negative 1 plus 1 is 0. Probably need more points. Let's look at 2. This is 2 squared. Negative 4 plus 1 is negative 3. And if we put negative 2 in here, negative 2 squared is still going to be positive 4. This makes it negative 4 plus 1 is negative 3. So let's see what this kind of looks like. 0, 1, 1, 0, negative 1, 0, 2, negative 3, negative 2, negative 3. We can see our parabola forming, so we can try and connect these. Let me try again here. Okay, so graph's not real accurate here. Should have gone through those points. But I'm not an artist, I'm just a math person. Okay, so let's erase that, and then let's go to our next graph. This one is a letter B on your notes, and this is x equals the cube root of y plus 1. Now, as we make our table over here, it might be easier if we put in values for y. Then we could find our x values. So let's do negative 1, because that would give us 0, and the cube root of 0 is 0. Let's try 7, because 7 plus 1 would be 8, and the cube root of 8 is 2. We could also make this negative 9. Negative 9 plus 1 is negative 8, and the cube root of negative 8 is negative 2. We could make this y negative 2. Negative 2 plus 1 would be negative 1, and the cube root of negative 1 is going to be negative 1. Let's see if we can kind of tell. We can tell it's not going to be linear because we don't have just x's and y's. We have a cube here. So I'm going to draw the graph. And 0, negative 1, 2, 7, negative 2, negative 9, negative 1, negative 2. Okay, so you can see the graph is kind of starting down here, going through this point, and then it goes up to this point, and then on up to this point and beyond. So the graph is not linear. The graph is making some more like a cube root of x kind of graph. So it's a little bit different. It's not quadratic and it's not linear. Well, that will end our first part of this lesson. We'll go to 2.1 into the next lesson, and it will cover distance formula. This is the first part of 2.1, and the next following will be the second part of 2.1.